Hello again. We're continuing our story about Noah today. The last we left him, he and all the animals, his sons and daughters-in-law and his wife, were all still on the ark. They were just about ready to come out into a new world. But it would have been a new world. It would have been much different than the one he saw before he went on the ark. We know what our world looks like now, but imagine it before. It had been this beautiful greenhouse with all the trees and with all of those things. And so when he went on the ark, um, I'm sure there was a little bit of times where he sort of worried about what was going to happen. But when he came off, he would have had even more reasons to worry, thinking, "What is that going to happen again? Will there be another flood? What's going to what's going to happen in the world?" But God was good to talk to Noah and say, "Noah, first of all, I want you to know that I want you and your children to have lots of children and to multiply and fill the earth with people. So we're just going to repopulate the world and have it all filled with people, and the animals will have babies and they'll repopulate the earth, and so we'll put things back the way they should be. But I also want you to know that things have changed." And what God told Noah was, he said, "Be fruitful, increase in number, and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will fall upon all the beasts of the earth and all the birds of the air, upon every creature that moves along the ground, and upon all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves will be food for you, just as I gave you the green plants. I now gave you everything." So before they went on the ark, all the people and all the animals ate plants, but things had changed. And now when they came off the ark, it was, no, now you'll be able to eat those chickens, and you'll be able to eat those cows, and you'll be able to eat those pigs and other animals. And so I've given you the ability to eat. And if you heard, we would be something to be afraid of for the animals, that the animals would think that we were sort of scary. And if you think about it, if you've ever tried to get close to a bird or ever tried to get close to a squirrel, they tend to run away because they're afraid of us. And that hadn't been before the flood. But now, after the flood, God was saying, we have to do this. Now, another thing that's interesting is that sometimes scientists think that at this time, the animals were not only afraid of man, but they suddenly became afraid of each other. Because before the flood, they didn't have to worry about getting eaten by another animal. But now, all of a sudden, the animals like the koala and the panda bear and some of the animals that are tend to be less able to protect themselves had to start moving away from the other animals. And we're going to talk a little bit about that next week, about what happened after Noah. But suddenly the animals are starting to pull apart too. And this was all scary. This was all new, and this was all different. And again, it would have caused Noah to have lots of things to worry about. But God did something for Noah that we can take advantage of too, which is really cool. Because what he said is, "I am making a sign of a covenant between you and me and every living creature, a covenant for all generations to come." That's us, guys. And it says, "I will set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds upon the clouds upon the earth, and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures, every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures and every kind of on the earth." We can remember every time we see a rainbow that God promises that there'll never be a flood like there was for Noah, that the whole world will never be flooded and destroyed by water like that again. And we can see that rainbow and know that sometimes there are clouds there and sometimes there's rain, but the sunshine coming through that rain is what causes the rainbow. That life is part of both of those things. And sometimes we get caught up on the negative and forget that God has sometimes puts things that are not so great in our lives to help us realize all of his blessings. We don't have to worry. God doesn't want us to be anxious. He just wants us to come to him. To help us remember that God made a covenant and a promise with Noah, we're going to make sort of a rainbow today. So what I did is I gave you some cotton balls, and you can spread those out and glue those on for your cloud. And then I gave you some rainbow colored strings and ribbons that you can use to make your rainbow. And you can design it. You could do a rainbow. I just decided to make it hang down like this, sort of for the rain. But you guys can do it however you would like it, whatever direction. And remember that we don't have to worry, because God is a God of his promises, and God has a plan for us. We've talked about that. Never can hear that too much. And I also gave you some cereal that has all the rainbow colors. So if you want to make a rainbow out of your cereal before you eat it, that's fun too.